Hi everybody, welcome back to Whole Wellness. My name is Anne, and today we're continuing our little series on the Norris nuts and reality and truth. Now, if you're just tuning in and you haven't watched the first two videos in this little series, I would encourage you to go back and do so now, because there's a lot of background, who they are if you don't know who they are, why we're talking about them and using them as an example. And we're continuing today. Before we get started in this deep dive for this segment of the series, I want to point out, if you have the time, to go to their channel right now and watch a couple of the recent videos that they've posted, full-length videos, not the shorts. So one of the videos shows the family preparing to go on vacation, as they annually do, to Hayman Island. And two of the sisters, Saber and Naz, supposedly get into a huge blow-up argument. And throughout the course of the video, this is the focal point of their 30-minute video. And the big to-do was whether or not Saber was even, she's 18 years old, is even going to go on vacation. And the stress that it caused the family, worrying supposedly about whether Saber was going to go on vacation. I don't believe for 1 second that she seriously considered not going on this vacation. It's a free tropical vacation. But what was presented to us is that she may not go because she would have to room with Naz, the other sister, 14 years old. I don't know why that was an issue or why that arrangement. I mean, there was some debate about switching rooms, a brief debate within their video. But to me, the entire video felt somewhat staged, because the video itself was approximately 30 minutes long, and 28 minutes of the video was spent talking about this big argument that Saber and Naz had. And a few minutes in there were family discussions and travel arrangements and the initial, arrival in Hayman Island, as surprise, surprise, Saber wound up going on vacation. So that's the first, that's an example of what we're getting into here and why we're discussing this. What is truth? What is reality? And why content creators find so much success in falsifying reality, their realities and others' realities. And the Norris nuts, even though I'm a huge fan, they have started to show to me in the last year or two signs of developing a habit of not really presenting the truth to their fans and reality as it is for them. Now, I'm not saying they have to divulge, and I've mentioned this before in my videos, so like I said, go back and watch the other videos in this series. I'm not saying that they're obligated to their fans to divulge everything about their family. However, I am saying that I think that content creators bear a responsibility to speak truthfully or be accountable for anything they might have misspoken about in a prior video or pull down a video that misrepresents. And I feel as though the Norris nuts have reached a level where they misrepresent in almost every video that they upload on their channel. Most recently, this past Saturday, they uploaded a video that was entitled, "Me and my sister got our wisdom teeth pulled out in the same day." And the thumbnail was this really intense picture, in appearance anyway, of Saber and Saki. Saber, I just mentioned to you, Saber's 18, Saki's 16, and Naz is 14. Those are 3 of the 4 girls in the family. They're the oldest 3 girls. And supposedly Saber and Saki got their wisdom teeth and that pulled out, and that was the whole premise of the video, and it was another 30+ minute video. But the entirety of the video was in fact about Father's Day in Australia, how the whole family forgot that it was Father's Day, and the people who learned that they had forgotten were trying to trick the others and trying to remember it. And the whole video was not about what the headline was about. It was supposedly a video about Saber and Saki getting their wisdom teeth out, but there was literally probably about 4 to 5 minutes of the entire video where the kids are shown expressing their concerns or their worries about having their wisdom teeth pulled. And at the very end of the video, there was a couple of minutes where the family shows them vlogging in the hospital before and after Saber and Saki get their wisdom teeth removed. But for a 30+ minute video, that wasn't the bulk of what the video was about. And so again, I could pick any of their videos from the last year and point out to you errors, contradictions, flaws, or inconsistencies in their content, but they're not picking up on it. And that's a concern of mine because they're real people. And this is what I see the trend for mental health and wellness going. That's the direction I see everybody going. We're snowballing into this realm of mental, emotional, spiritual demise, this chaos and anxiety and depression and worthlessness and suicide that is overtaking society because we refuse to or are unable to pay attention, be aware, and stay connected and grounded to reality and truth. And so these two things, truth and reality, and staying connected to truth and reality, in my personal opinion, are paramount to healing and being healthy. So in the last video number 2, we finished off talking about or pondering that question, have the Norse knots been a positive influence on people? And we discussed in some ways yes, in some ways bad, but whether or not it's been good for them, we're picking up there, and we're going to start off with the obvious financially. Has it been good for them financially? Absolutely. And we'll explore that a little bit more. But let's start out by looking at the family's early household income. So Brooke, the mother of the family, homeschooled and cared for their at the time, just 4 young children at home. And I believe at one time she did work, but eventually became a full-time stay-at-home mom. And she assisted the children doing their vlogging on YouTube, and it was exclusively in those early days just the children that were shown. But it didn't take very long for this YouTube channel to morph into a family vlog. And the family eventually had 2 more children and became a family of 8. And they vlogged everything, and we became captivated with their family and their story and their lives. But in the early days, they were a 1-income family, and Justin founded and run the Justin Norris Swim Academy in New South Wales, Australia, since 2005, when he retired from competitive swimming. He had sold the business in early 2020. Just a little over 3 years after Saber, the oldest daughter, appeared on Australia's Today Show and subsequently captivated the world with her charm and humor and adorableness. Justin sold his business in order to commit full-time to his family and their vlog, which is admirable, but financially speaking, that's where they were at by the time early 2020 rolled around. Brooke wasn't working outside of the home, and he was able to sell his business. Whoop, my earring just fell off. That's funny. Let me just stick that back in. I don't know what happened or why it fell out. It must have been hanging on by a thread. Anyway, so financially, that's what was happening with the family at the time, is their YouTube channel had gotten to the point where Justin was able to sell his business and commit full-time to his family and their vlog. Financially, in other words, YouTube and their vlog on YouTube has supported their family of 8. Not frugally either, I might add. And that's just the financial aspect of how things have changed for the Norris family and how they've morphed over the last handful of years. I digress. That's just the financial aspect to ponder while we move on to consider something else. What about opportunities? Opportunities as well have been through the roof, not just the money. The Norrises collectively have met multiple celebrities and have been featured in or on countless international media outlets. And they've been getting ready to announce some big news for months now involving a television network in the US. I don't know for sure if this is still in the works or not. They haven't mentioned it in a while. But here's another point. Is it in the works or is it not in the works? It was a big deal many months ago for many videos, and then now we haven't heard about it for a long time. Has that deal flopped? Is it a done deal? Is it off the table? Has it been canceled? What's going on? And they're not keeping us up to speed. They're not keeping the fans informed. So what's going on? Was there really a deal that they were discussing with a network, or was that all just talk? Was it early stages and now it's like, no, it was never really a reality, and they were teasing the fans about possibly spending time in the US, and I don't know that it was ever actually a real thing that they were considering. Maybe it's still in the talks, but I don't know. This is what I'm saying about reality. They're not being honest and upfront and forthright about the status of things going on. They give these teasers, and true to form, they've been secretive, yet very teasing and very flirtatious with the information that they're giving to their fans about this news. And it's been going on for months and months. Now let's just pause here on this particular note and think for a second. Firstly, if a television network in the US has reached out to the Norris Nuts about collaborating, that alone should tell us a little bit about the Norris Nuts reality and how far they are from what they claim to be typical and average. As I've mentioned in my prior videos, this is something that they repeatedly try to convince their viewers, that they are normal and average everyday family. But I'm sure you're average and you're normal and you're wondering why the networks aren't calling you, right? But that's my point. Is, see, they're constantly talking about how typical and average and normal they are, but they're in conversation with a US network about some sort of deal. I don't know. Are they or aren't they? I mean, which is true? You can't be average, normal, and typical and also be discussing a possible television deal with a network in the US. You just can't. That's not truth. See where I'm getting at with that? Let's just see what happens with the TV deal. Let's jump back now to the consideration of whether the viral popularity of the Norris Nuts vlog has been a good thing for their family or their fan base. I'm sure some fans would say that their vlog has been very uplifting and cheerful when they found themselves to be feeling sad or lonely or upset. And perhaps for some, it's just harmless entertainment. They don't think too much of it because the Norris Nuts make us laugh. They make us cry. They make us feel connected to them when they're vlogging. We can relate to quite a bit of what they're dealing with in their own lives. Unfortunately, as we've mentioned in the prior videos, most of their fan base is children. And children, especially young children, do not have the cognitive development or the emotional maturity to discern reality versus fiction in the content that the Norris Nuts produce. In a fairy tale, yes, about unicorns and talking frogs, a child knows it's fiction, as we've talked about before in the prior videos, because they know in their real life they don't see unicorns. They don't see talking frogs. They're not part of their real world. So there is a separation between what's reality and what's fiction. And they eventually learn that unicorns and talking frogs are part of their imaginary world, and they can't relate to unicorns or talking frogs personally. So there is already that separation. But when a child does and can relate to a seemingly harmless family with siblings and parents and pets and grandma and vacations and all this other stuff, a show that no other fictional characters or environments like cartoon dinosaurs or blue dogs or ships flying through the sky with sails to guide them, the child can't separate. They believe that what they're seeing on the Norris Nuts channel is real and true. All the child knows is that, just by way of example, they see a Norris Nut kid getting $1,000 cash, bills being held out in front of the camera by their dad or their mom just for winning a contest. The Norris Nuts refer to it as a challenge, like staying on the bed the longest or eating one color of food for 24 hours. All the child viewing that knows is that that kid just has to sit on the bed or eat that one color of food for 24 hours and they get $1,000 cash from mom and dad? Whoa, that is amazing. That is awesome. All the viewing child really knows or understands is that they have to work a heck of a lot harder for a lot longer for that amount of money. And most kids probably never see that amount of money. All they really know is they get to earn a $10 allowance or they win a blue ribbon at a fair or something like that. It takes a great deal of time for the average child to save up $1,000 for something that they might want to purchase. That is a lot of money to the average, typical, normal child. And all of that makes the child feel icky. It doesn't matter if they're 8 years old. It doesn't matter if they're 12 years old. It doesn't matter if they're 30 years old. It feels icky to watch someone else eat 47 chicken nuggets and get $1,000 for it. Heck, I'd eat 47 chicken nuggets for $1,000, wouldn't you? But that doesn't happen in the real world, and yet the Norris Nuts are constantly telling us, their viewers, that they're normal, average, and typical, and yet they're able to fork over $1,000 here, $1,000 here for these seemingly ridiculous and stupid challenges that they do that are meaningless and just leave their viewers feeling icky and jealous, inspiring feelings of jealous and unworthiness in themselves. It's unfair and it's unjust to them. The child does not understand that it's not normal, that it's not average, that it's not typical for a child to be handed $1,000 in cash for, let's say, staying in the swimming pool for 13 hours straight. Every single kid that I know would hands down do that for $1,000. But will they ever get the opportunity? No. Our viewers, especially in this case, the child viewer, begins to feel a dissatisfaction, a resentment in their own circumstances and their own lives. They're jealous and they feel like they wish it was them. The gratitude that they have, the gratitude that they did possess, slips away before their very eyes without them even being aware that it's slipping away. They can only wish that they got that kind of cash or those kinds of rewards and didn't have to work so dang hard for so dang long. They don't understand the patience that it requires, or delayed self-gratification, or working hard to earn something and practicing over and over and over again to perfect something. Like in the early days of the Norris Nuts vlogs, when we can relate to Saber's constant hard work ethic with her skateboarding and her competitions, where she came in second at the X Games competition. And honestly, that's a huge win in my opinion, even if she didn't get first. But we can see this happening on the screen where she's lost this vivaciousness for hard work. And she is, let me remind you, the oldest sibling of this family. So back in the early days, pre-vlog, she probably did get a good start with what it means to work hard and delayed self-gratification and patience. It'll be interesting to see how the younger children in the family develop and what their work ethic winds up being. I'm not saying that it probably won't be good. I'm just saying it'll be interesting to see that dynamic, the older generations versus the younger generations. The Norris Nuts vlog in the last few years, I've noticed, has just become video after video of these instant gratification, ridiculous prize money challenges and vacations and holidays and buying things and shopping and renovating a multi-million-dollar home in one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in Australia, Bondi Beach in Sydney, where every member of the family gets to decorate their own bedroom the way they want to, which again is not something that I can relate to and I'm sure you can't relate to. I think it's awesome that they're able to do that with the success of their channel, but I'm seeing this kind of thing happen simultaneously as I'm seeing them detach from reality and detach from being grounded from reality. These kinds of things just do not happen in the average, typical, normal person's life because it's not reality. unlike most of the Norris Nuts fan base, again, which is children, because I'm an adult, I'm very well aware that if I were being handed $1,000 for eating purple food exclusively for 24 hours, down the road from where I live, there's a pregnant single mom who can't work full time because she has a 2-year-old she also has to care for that she doesn't have help with, and she can't afford childcare for this 2-year-old. And paying her rent is a struggle because she is limited to working part-time, never mind trying to buy her and her child healthy food or maintain reliable transportation on a part-time income. In my adult world, which is very different from a child's world, I am very well aware that my coworker's dad is dying from cancer. And while he struggles to balance his children, his own job, his household, and his relationship with his wife, he barely has time to care for his dad. That's our reality. That is the average, typical, normal family. I thank you for tuning in to Whole Wellness with Ann. We're going to finish up with the Norris Nuts in video number 4. I thought I'd be able to get it all into 3 videos, but it looks like we're running short on time. So we're going to wrap it all up and do one final examination about, really, has the Norris Nuts vlog been good for them, and has it been good for the public? We're using the Norris Nuts specifically as an example in this little series, but the concept and the thought process and the application still applies to ourselves, our friends, our neighbors, our family, and the rest of the content creators that we watch. Thanks once again for tuning in, guys. Take care of yourself. Bye.